All right, Lana, where else are you hanging out? Boom.
There is
Let's
one.
call it. Let's just call it now. Because this one is over.
Crucially, let's take a look at Reid Duke's hand. After sideboarding, he does have access to those removal spells. We talked about how powerful the Baffling End is against opposing creature decks, and also Lava-Rune Enforcer just made an appearance in the right-hand side of Reid's hand. That lowly little fellow, that lowly 1-drop, can contain a dinosaur by itself.
And Ghalta is in hand here for Lucas, so that is worth noting as well. Reid's hand actually quite good for the matchup. These blue cards are actually also quite good here in Teferi, Time Raveler, and Deputy of Detention, giving you answers to large creatures or at least delaying them. So Reid's got maybe a little bit more interaction than you would expect from an aggressive white strategy, which shows just how powerful that blue splash can be. For now, as you see Llanowar Elves kick things off here for Lucas, the question is, do you want to go towards Growth Chamber Guardian or do you want to go towards Scroll Spellbreaker? It looks like the Ogre Warrior is where to start, and a 4/4 is where it's going to finish.
And we see Reid, he does have that Baffling End. And looking at Lucas's deck list, he does not have many ways to interact with that. He does have some. He possibly has Vivian Reid coming in from the sideboard. Not a card you necessarily think of as something you're looking for in this sort of matchup, but as the decks sort of become more interactive, the games can stalemate more often, and Planeswalkers can end up being a lot more powerful.
Third land is a pretty big draw there for Reid Duke. It's not a blue source for the Teferi or the Deputy of Detention, but it is a third land nonetheless, which means that you can actually deploy Conclave Tribunal if you want to take care of the Growth Chamber Guardian, or start to get History of Benalia online. I like the pause here from Reid. Now, if you've ever seen or played against Reid, you know that he's a very thoughtful Magic player. He never rushes any of his decisions, no matter how far behind or ahead that he is. This actually is a pretty tough one because History of Benalia is attractive, but so is Conclave Tribunal.
Yeah, the Growth Chamber Guardian can get out of hand very quickly. He does have Deputy of Detention, which can remove all of the Growth Chamber Guardians, even if they all come out to play. But I don't know that he wants to have to rely on that. He doesn't even have blue mana yet, so if he were to try and just sit back and use that, he's going to go with History of Benalia, though. So there will be an opportunity for Lucas Berthoud to use his Growth Chamber Guardian to find a friend.
Now, there is some adapting to be done. I like the attack here. You're going to offer up as if you want to double block, feel free. Looks like the answer is no. Yep, so going to adapt, which means put some counters there in search of another Growth Chamber Guardian. So not a bad turn here for our Gruul aggro player, even though Lucas is down a game. The follow-up is going to be a Forest, and now here's another copy of Growth Chamber Guardian, and we're going to head back over to Duke, who still does not have that blue source.
Ooh, the Venerate Loxodon, though, is a very nice draw. It does mean that he actually, there's a couple of things he may want to consider here. He does have that Conclave Tribunal. He could use the Tribunal on the second Growth Chamber Guardian to prevent the sort of spread of the Crab Warriors. But with Lava-Rune Enforcer and the Loxodon and 2 Knights in play now, he has the opportunity to go pretty wide and pump up his board here. And yeah, that's going to be the choice that he decides to make.
So it is the Lava-Rune Enforcer, which is a great card in this matchup. As you did mention, all these large green creatures and a real lack of removal here for Lucas means that he's going to have some difficulty dealing with the 1/2 that's now a 2/3.
Another land.
Mountain is not ideal here for Lucas at all.
And the Lava-Rune Enforcer is actually a huge deal here because it preemptively answers the Ghalta. The fact that Lucas Berthoud drew a land here doesn't really have that much that he can actually get down. He can adapt the Growth Chamber Guardian and play another one and still play Ghalta this turn, I believe. So he can still get some offense going, but a lot of that offense is stymied pretty heavily by the presence of that mere, I was going to say 1/1, 1-drop. It's 1/2 anyway, as well as the Conclave Tribunal. So even if there is a removal spell for that tapper, the Ghalta will still be contained.
I really, really like this play here from Duke. He's saying, you know what, you're going to attack, I'm going to block. It's going to force the issue to make you pump, and also I don't have to worry about Ghalta this turn any longer because you just lost 4 power on your battlefield.
Yeah, I think that from Lucas there, he may have wanted to just play the Ghalta pre-combat rather than attacking first, because now, like you mentioned, he lost 4 power, so that totally contains the Ghalta, removes his ability to play it that turn. If he played the Ghalta pre-combat and then attacked, it feels like he's going to be adapting anyway. If he wants to attack, he might as well play the Ghalta first. That information being available to Duke isn't really that big of a deal and just stymies his development.
Yeah, it's a great block there by Duke and maybe a misstep there from Lucas. Now you're going to see an attack here with some large Vigilant Knights. They are 5/4 coming into the red zone with a 3/2 flyer there in Sky Marcher Aspirant because the City's Blessing is online, much like a Goliath in StarCraft, as we're going to see an attack here for a whole bunch of damage. Ghalta Primal Hunger, even if it did come down, Brian, the problem is still that Law Law Rune Enforcer, it's just going to be a problem, I think, for Gruul decks in general, especially if Azorius aggro or Mono White aggro continues to be popular.
All right, so I have a question for you, Cedric.
I got an answer, I hope.
Why would a dinosaur listen to the law?
Because we all listen to the law.
But it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's not only it's an elder dinosaur.
It's like the
Like
oldest,
this
most
is, you know,
angry
it's
dino.
like it's like you must obey authority. It's like, listen to your elders, my friend. The elder dinosaur. It's just like, I'm gonna put you in jail. I'm a dinosaur. What jail are you gonna put me in? How big is this jail?
That's a pretty big jail at the Hallowed Fountain area of Azorius. The Azorius Senate, look, they've got some answers to some problems. That's
Apparently.
for sure. Conclave Tribunal is going to take care of that Grove Chamber Guardian. It's another land here for Lucas Berthoud, and I don't know if there's a path to victory now. It was already looking pretty difficult, but you mentioned this right at the top, right? I think White is advantaged in a lot of spots in this matchup, even starting with a new card like Law Rune Enforcer, but also the ability to get in the air, the ability to go wide with large creatures. I don't really know where the advantage is for Gruul outside of this, and this is already being answered in Ghalta.
Yeah, this is just dead on board. We see the Law Rune Enforcer can tap the Ghalta, or Teferi can bounce it, or Deputy Detention can put it into a different cage. There's all kinds of cages for this dinosaur.
There's no wrong way to eat this Reese's. That's for sure. See you later, Ghalta. History of Finale of the draw off the Teferi. That's right. Attack all button, Reid. You know how it's done, my friend. You know how to do it.
Yeah, beatdowns there from the little white creatures.
Win.
And yeah, Reid Duke piloting that deck, I think, quite well.